Hello, this is the Mushroom Wizard, and I'm bringing to you another presentation concerning picking mushrooms in Saskatchewan. So today, we're going to be looking at the Blewits that are found in Saskatchewan. The genre that we'll be focusing on are Lepista and Paralepista. And there is some taxonomic confusion right now concerning some of the species that are found in Lepista, in that they may actually belong to Cliticide. But for now, we're going to refer to them as Lepista. So what is a Blewit? Blewits are, for the most part, choice edibles. They are agaric mushrooms as well. So they have that cap, they have a stipe, and gills beneath the cap. And they belong to either, in the past or present, the Lepista or Paralepista genus. And as I've mentioned, some of these are under taxonomic revision. They have pale pinkish spores, and these are for intermediate to advanced mushroom pickers. So the first species that we're going to be looking at is the well-known wood blewit, Lipistinuta. The wood blewit. Well, the cap is violet to violet brown to tan with age. Sometimes it'll just start off brown, but again, it becomes more deeper brown, more tan with age, and that color change starts in the center up top there and spreads out towards the margin. You can see a little faint bit of brown there up on the top of the mushroom. These are convex. They flatten out with age, and they are smooth to the touch. That margin is down rolled, as you can see, when it's young, and it becomes fairly wavy as the mushroom matures, and those margins reach upward. They grow up to about 5 inches in diameter, though they are usually smaller than that. And it's quite a beautiful mushroom, as you can see there. Here we can see the brown color variant, or the tan, I suppose, would be a better choice of words. And here we can see a size reference. The gills are purple, fading to tan or to pinkish tan. So they actually sometimes will get lighter with age. They are adnate. They are crowded, as you can see. There are short gills present between the gills, usually 1, sometimes 2, so not frequent, but they are there. There is a pinkish cream spore print, and that is the spore print there. The stipe is purple, turning brown with age. It is cylindrical to clavate to bulbous. And you can see on the right-hand side there, the left mushroom, I would consider that to be clavate, club-shaped. And then the right mushroom, you can see it's more bulbous. It seems to be pretty much equal, and then at the bottom there's a bulb. It has a central attachment to the cap. It is velvety to smooth. If you run your finger across it. And these will be up to 4 inches high and 1 inch thick. In terms of the ecology, they are saprobic. These are terrestrial mushrooms. They feed as well upon bacteria. That's kind of an interesting thing I threw in there. The mycelium actually is specialized to attack bacteria, kill it, and consume it. These are scattered to gregarious, and they are found summer through fall. Their edibility is choice. This is a delicious mushroom, good in any dish. It's a good size too, and if you find enough of them, it'll make a wonderful meal. They have a unique smell when younger. They smell like frozen orange juice. So if you've ever opened up a can that you've taken out of the freezer of the orange juice concentrate, that's the smell that you can expect. That smell tends to dissipate a bit when they're older. These are good in any dish, as I've mentioned, and they're for intermediate to advanced mushroom pickers, as there are some lookalikes that we're going to cover now. So the first lookalike is the Viscid Webcap Quartnarius Iodioids. So on the left we have our wood blewit, on the right we have our Viscid Webcap. It's a fairly close resemblance actually, but there are some key differences. The Viscid Webcap is, as the name suggests, slimy, as well the spores are very, very dark. You can see the spore ring, it's a rust red right on the mushroom there. And if you want the other ways to tell the difference, you'd want to look these up separately. Here's another look-alike for you. This is Lipistinuta. On the left, it's more of a tan variant in terms of its color. And on the right, we have Antiloma sinuatum, also known as the livid pink gill, which is an extremely toxic mushroom. Not likely to kill you, but it does have some serious long-lasting effects. So again, you'd want to look those up and know that can happen. Know that that is a potential look-alike that you could come across. Next, we're going to look at the Sordid Blewit, Lepista Sordida. Again, a very pretty mushroom. So, in terms of the cap, it is pink to purple, becoming brown with age. It is convex, flattening out with age, sometimes developing a shallow depression, and sometimes that shallow depression will actually have an umbo within it. And sometimes there will just be a little umbo as it's flattening down. It is smooth to the touch, and the margin is smooth, but it usually becomes wavy by maturity. It's up to 4 inches in diameter, so a bit smaller than the wood blewit. Here are some size references for you. Again, this is a very pretty mushroom. So those gills are purple to pink, and they fade to cream. So if you have a purple gilled mushroom, they'll actually be lighter as they become cream. These are sinuate or adnexed. So when I say adnexed, I mean those gills reach across to the stipe and then they dip downwards before they touch the stipe. Or as they reach across, there will sometimes be a notch that rings around the stipe. They are crowded gills. There are short gills found frequently between those gills. You can see there are more than you saw with the wood blewit. It looks like 3 to 4 between each gill of various lengths. And this produces a pinkish cream spore print. There is the spore print. That's also very similar to what you would see if you did a spore print on glass for the wood blewit. You can see the stipe here, that is purple, kind of different shades of purple, and it is cylindrical, equal throughout. It is fibrous, so you can see those longitudinal grooves there that often indicate that this is a fibrous stipe, and it has a central attachment to the cap. And if you look on the right hand side there, you see that one has, as it's flattening out there, actually has an umbo on top of it. These are up to 3 inches high and about a ½ inch thick. They are saprobic in terms of their ecology. They are terrestrial. These are often found near composts. So I know in Saskatoon there are these community gardens in certain parks that have big compost heaps. That would be a place where I might start looking for these in the fall around that area. They are solitary to scattered, and they are often, well, they are found summer through the fall. And I have found these on people's lawns I have found these along the sides of streets in the city. I have found them in parks, and I have found them in the grassy margins near forests. So very common in Saskatchewan. In terms of their edibility, they are good to choice. Not quite as good as the wood blewit. That's why I rate this a little bit less, but it is still a very good mushroom for the table. They do require long cooking times, and when I say long cooking times, I'm saying in excess of 10 minutes to 15 minutes when you're cooking it. Otherwise, they will be mildly toxic in that they will maybe give you the runs or something like that. It's nothing that I would consider dangerous, but just cook them a little longer. These are for intermediate mushroom pickers. And here is a look-alike. We have Lepista Sordida on the left versus Quartnarius Iodioids on the right. I've already mentioned this mushroom. This is the Viscid Webcap. Just know that these two can look similar. So when you pick them up, give a quick look on the internet to each to make sure that you have the proper points of reference, points of comparison. This is the Flowery Blewit, Lepista arena. The cap is beige, becoming pink in the center. You can see that actually happening as in the photo there. It is convex or broadly campanulate, and campanulate is kind of a bell shape, like those big bell towers that you see in things like The Hunchback of Notre Dame, if you like Disney movies. It flattens with age, as you can see that happening in the photo there. If you run your fingers across the top, it will feel smooth. The margin is usually wavy. Even when it's down, it gets wavy early on, and more so as it becomes flat, and you can see that in the photo as well. The overall shape is often eccentric. So when you're looking at the profile, when you're looking straight down on the mushroom, there are times where it'll be round, but often it will be something strange, and we'll see some photos of that in a minute. And then these grow up to 5 inches in diameter, and rarely they can grow quite a bit larger than that. Here's a size reference for you. And as I said, that profile can be fairly eccentric, and that's what you're looking at here. You can't really describe that as round. So those gills are cream, and they take on a pinkish tinge as they approach maturity, which is, of course, coming from the spores. They are adnate, so you can see that they come across and there is no dip. They just touch that stipe. They are crowded together. Short gills are present, so between 1 and 2 short gills between each set of long gills. And this provides a creamy pink spore print if you want to do a spore print of it. There is a spore print. The stipe is cream or streaked with pinkish tan. It is cylindrical or clavate, and here we can see it actually looks to be more verging between the two, right? It looks like it's somewhat clavate, but you could also call that cylindrical. You can see those longitudinal grooves, though, as well, that indicate that this is a fibrous stipe that you're looking at. I imagine you could peel this one apart and see the individual longitudinal fibers. This has a central or eccentric attachment to the cap. So when the cap itself is eccentric, you can almost assume right off the bat that the stipe can have an eccentric attachment, because if there's no way that you could call that a round cap, then it's going to be off-center regardless. They grow up to about 3 inches high and 1/2 inch thick, but like I said, these can grow quite a bit larger, every now and then they can be quite big, so you could almost double both of those. These are saprobic. They grow in the leaf litter of deciduous trees. So you're going to find this in wooded areas where there's a lot of deciduous trees growing and the leaf litter has become quite thick and has been rotting, often for several years. Several layers from several years will be present. That's a good place to look for this mushroom. They are terrestrial. They are solitary to scattered. So often you'll only find one or a couple. It's not the most common mushroom to come across. And then these are found summer throughout the fall. Their edibility is good. They are strongly scented like iris flowers. So they'll smell like a bouquet or kind of like a potpourri even. If you're familiar with the smell of an iris, then that's a great way for you to ID this mushroom. They do require long cooking times, same as the Sordid Blewit that we saw prior. Otherwise, you could get a stomach ache from this. And these are for advanced mushroom pickers. We have a look-alike alert. So Lepista arena, our beautiful little flower blewit, is on the left, and Entoloma sinuatum again is on the right. And this is a much closer look-alike than the Sordid Blewit or the wood blewit was. So Entoloma sinuatum, once again, this is a notoriously toxic mushroom that can cause some very undesirable effects within your brain chemistry. They can actually cause prolonged episodes of depression up to 6 months, and that would be, again, not something you want to deal with. Here's another look-alike alert, and this one's even more dangerous. Lepista arena on the left, it's all flattened out, and the sweating funnel mushroom on the right. And they look fairly similar. They can look very similar. The sweating mushroom, Clitocybe dealbata. There's another one called Clitocybe rivulosa. They look the same. They're fairly frequent in Saskatchewan, and they are potentially fatal. We will cover those in another presentation. Next species. This is the Tawny Blewit, Lepista Flacida. This used to be in Lepista, now it's in Lepista. So this is a beige to kind of an orangish brown to this, I don't even know how I would describe that color, I guess like a orangish beige cream. They are flat. I guess they would start convex, but very quickly flat as it's growing. And then as it begins to mature, it becomes funnel shaped. As you can see that happening there, the center is dipping down. It is smooth to the touch if you run your finger across it. The margin is down rolled when young, then becoming smooth, as you can see there, and then becoming wavy as that central depression deepens. And you can see the waviness starting to take a hold of that margin. The margin, these grow up to about 3 inches in diameter. They're fairly common in Saskatchewan as well. Here's a size reference for you. It's not a very big mushroom. It's also a very thin-fleshed mushroom. The gills are cream to pinkish in color. They're deeply decurrent, as you can see there. They are crowded together. Short gills are present. You can see of various lengths, but no more than 1 or 2 between each gill. And this produces a pinkish white spore print. There's a spore print for you. So that stipe is the same color as the cap. It is cylindrical. It is centrally attached to the cap. You can see it there. and it is fibrous. You can see how fibrous it is right in this. You can see those longitudinal markings going down. Ooh, the stipe is fairly tough. You wouldn't want to eat it either. And they grow up to about 3 inches high. In terms of the ecology, this is a saprobic mushroom. Once again, all of the Blewits are. It is terrestrial. It grows on conifer duff. So basically, thick, decaying layers of pine needles is where you're going to find this mushroom. And these are scattered to gregarious. Sometimes they'll form rings. And they are found summer throughout the fall. In terms of edibility, these are good to eat. They smell very much like a button mushroom that you've bought from the store. It has the same taste as well. With this mushroom, one thing that is very beneficial to this kind of mushroom shape for mushroom pickers is that because it is thin-fleshed, it is not going to be full of insects. I've never found these with insects in them because it has that really tough stipe, and then it's just nowhere for the insect to be. These are actually really good mushrooms for sauce in pastas and stuff like that. You just cut them in half, and then it's got this kind of big floppy thing. And they are for intermediate to advanced mushroom pickers. So in terms of lookalikes, this bears some resemblance to, again, the sweating funnel, Clitocybe dealbata, which is a potentially fatal mushroom. And that's everything. So I hope you enjoyed this presentation on the Blewits of Saskatchewan. I'm the Mushroom Wizard, and I'll see you again next time.